Hi everyone, Valerie Gregoire here. Thank you for joining me. Today I want to talk to you about cleansing the energy in your home or your office, just to rebalance it and get it so that you really enjoy being in this room. Have you ever walked into a place and you immediately felt like there was thick tension in the air? And maybe there were some people in there and you could be pretty sure they must have just had an argument. Or maybe you've walked into a home and you felt instantly invited, hugged, comfortable. That has to do with the energy imprint that's in that room. There's good vibes and bad vibes. So, are we kind of stuck with whatever we've got in our house or in our office? Absolutely not. We can change the energy by using some tools. And today I'm going to show you some of the sound healing and other tools that I use to cleanse the energy in my home or office whenever I feel I need it. Now, you might want to think about cleansing your energy in the room. If there's been any arguments, absolutely. Clear the energy, rebalance it. Because otherwise, it'll sit there the next day and you'll come in and you'll sit down and your mind will go back to the argument because the energy's still there. So you definitely want to do that. If you've got a new baby coming to the home, if you've got someone coming to stay as a guest, you might want to cleanse the energy. You always clean the guest room, right? But how about cleaning the energy in the guest room? And then if you're thinking about selling your house, you definitely want to go through and cleanse the energy in all the rooms. And if you're buying a new house, be aware that some of the feelings you have towards that home might be the energy itself, and it could be energy that you could shift and change so that, yeah, I like the layout of the house, but I don't necessarily feel comfortable here. Maybe have someone go through and cleanse that house before you make the offer, and that way you could see if this is a good place for you. So there's lots of different reasons. If you were depressed for like a couple weeks, maybe a couple days, but I like to go a little longer with my depression, really get in there with it. When I'm done, I'm done with this. I want to move on. Well, I might need to go ahead and cleanse the space that I've been spending time in to also clear that energy. So, what do I work with? Well, lots of tools. Probably my first and foremost is this tuning fork, which is your 528 tuning fork. And it's part of the Solfeggio set. And it's got a beautiful, clear tone. Now, let me just play that for you. The 528 fork resonates with vibrant, clear energy. It resonates with the energy of plant life and sunshine. And many people feel that it resonates with divine love and miracles as well. So overall, it's a very bright, lifting energy. So when you're going to do your cleansing, there's a couple things we got to do first. So first and foremost, set your intention. What is the purpose of this session? What am I trying to accomplish? Say there's been an argument, then you might want to clear the distortions in the energy and bring in a more harmonious and peaceful energy. But on the other hand, you might want to work in your office, but you feel like you've got a mental block or a creative block going on. Well, then you could set the intention to clear stagnant energy and bring in creative and flowing energy instead. So spend a little time thinking about, what do I want to accomplish here? what type of energy do I need to get rid of, and what type of energy do I need to bring in. So number one step, definitely set your intention. Number two is something that I added on after. I used to go right to cleansing after that, but I found that if I stopped a moment and paused and felt gratitude for my space, felt gratitude for the room, and kind of just sent love into the room, I found that the gratitude broke up some of that tough, tight energy. And that allowed more transformation to take place, and it took place much faster. So for doing that, there's a lot of different things you could do, but I like to use the Tibetan bowl. And this particular bowl is tuned to the note of F, which is good for the heart chakra. Okay, so I've set my attention. I know what I want to do. So the next thing I'm going to do is just quiet my mind, get into the heart center, tap the bowl, and then send loving energy into the room. Just have a lot of gratitude well up in your heart and just send that out into the room. And sometimes I'll move the bowl around the room as well and just kind of send that gratitude to different areas. Now let me see. You could also kind of set the stage by lighting a candle, place some flowers in a vase, or open a window to invite fresh air into the room. So that's another, we're kind of just getting everything set up to allow for this change to take place. Now, if you didn't have a Tibetan bowl or a crystal bowl that you wanted to use for gratitude, you could use anything that kind of helped you to evoke that feeling of gratitude. Maybe you would have a flower in your hand or an essential oil that you just spritz around the room, and you could wave a flower around the room as you send gratitude. You could hum, you could chant, anything like that that works for you to set the stage for being heart-centered during this instead of up in our head. So just as you would dust the furniture, you can use sound and your intentions to dust the energy in the room. So the 528 fork I mentioned was my favorite tool for this. It's inexpensive, it's easy to work with, it's not real heavy, and it has that beautiful crystal clear tone that easily clears distortions and stagnant energy. So you're going to take this fork and you're just going to tap and walk around the room, and you're going to begin to move it in different areas. Like up in the corner of the room, you know how it's like cobwebs gather up there. Well, I kind of feel like a lot of the thoughts and energy that we have can tend to gather in the corners of the room as well. So you're going to tap and you're just going to sweep. Just like you're sweeping the floor or something. You're going to sweep with the instrument and sweep around, say, your couch, the end tables, around the plants. Okay, you're going to go around the room sweeping. But as you sweep, pay attention to what you're feeling, because you're going to come across spots where it doesn't feel too good. And maybe at first you won't notice this, but if you do this on a regular basis, you'll get really good at it. So you come to a spot and you go, ooh, this energy doesn't feel good here. It might even feel like something, like it feels like anger is stuck here, or it feels like this spot's really depressed. You can acknowledge that, but don't dwell on it. Don't think about like, why is it like that? Instead, you want to focus on clearing, releasing, transforming that energy. So you're going to say, yeah, it feels stuck here. I'm just going to send a little bit more of this healing, beautiful, bright sound waves into this area. So sometimes in those areas where I feel like the energy is really off and needs like a big sweep, we need a blower in this area, right? I'm going to use my crystal pyramid in those areas, because the crystal pyramid to me is, especially my 10-inch crystal pyramid, it tends to be a very good instrument to pull in negative distortions and then send them back out transformed and renewed. So it's just a beautiful instrument for that. It's just like a little vortex cleaning up, like a little vacuum or something. So I'm going to let you hear that. So I'll take this pyramid and I will move around the room, over the furniture, stopping in areas that feel stuck or stagnant, and even, accelerating the spin a little if I feel like I need something really cleared out. I was really surprised at how much of the discordant energy would gather around my plants. And I think that the plants were kind of working like a little magnet to take it onto themselves and transform it for us with the sunshine. Because the plants carry, remember I said that 528 frequency, so they have that ability to cleanse the air and cleanse the energy as well. So don't forget your plants. Spend a little bit more time around them, and send gratitude to them as well for the work they're doing. Now, if you don't have a crystal pyramid or the tuning forks, you could also use something like sage or an incense. You could use essential oils like peppermint or eucalyptus. You could also use a feather. It's a very quiet method, but I have this one feather and I like to dust the area just to kind of clear. I don't use it for my deep cleaning, but I do use the feather for kind of after I've done a little deeper cleanse, then I just go and refresh the area with the feather. You could also use drums, rattles, bells, and gongs to move the energy. Whatever you feel you're comfortable with and whatever helps you to feel that you're moving and cleansing the energy. Now, on my desk area, I like to use fresh rosemary to clear the energy around my computer. And afterwards I'll place what I have left in the vase, and that scent will help clear my mind and support focus all day long. So that's one of the things I do, is to just clear the energy. I make a little bouquet of the rosemary and wave it over that area to clear that. So now that we got everything cleared and we're like, okay, this is feeling better, but we don't want to just kind of end there, because we need to invite some new energy into the space, and kind of harmonize and balance it, rebalance it. Now, one of the tools I use for rebalancing is my C and G tuning fork, okay? These are part of the harmonic scale. They create the perfect fifth, and that supports deep relaxation, it supports higher awareness, and it just makes you feel calm and at peace. So I'll take, after the cleansing, I'm going to take these 2 forks. You just listen to that. And I'll tap them and move them around slow like this to balance and harmonize the room, and kind of envision at this point inviting like sunshine, like sun rays are coming down and refreshing everything. Now you could also use other instruments that are tuned to the perfect fifth. I have a wall, that chime on that wall back there. Can't point. That chime is tuned to the same notes as this, so I can go walk around the room and hit the chime and kind of gently move the chime back and forth around the room, and that's a good way to harmonize and blend the energies. I also like these little chimes. This is a Zephyr chime, and there's also the Koshi chimes, and they're just beautiful. I mean, listen to this bright, enjoyable energy. So you can kind of just walk around and use the chimes to refresh the energy in the room and kind of giving it that fresh sunshine, the joy. You could envision bringing joy into the space. That would be nice. Happiness, things like that. So you could also, at this point, you could sing. If you like singing, you could hum. You could play bells. Things that kind of like are light and fresh and moving, just to create that new energy, because we moved out the old in with some new. You could also use essential oils like lang lang or lavender, but I personally like to use grapefruit and lemon at this point because they are bright and refreshing. So I will spritz the room with lemon or grapefruit essential oil and just bring in that real fresh smell, which automatically lifts your moods. Another kind of symbolic thing you could do is you could use a yin yang symbol, and place it somewhere in the room. So I have this beautiful candle that's shaped with the yin yang, and I can place that and light that just as a reminder that we've now harmonized the energy in the room. And you could also use the figure 8 for this purpose because it's a continuous harmonious pattern. And what you could do is draw the figure 8 on just through the air in the room while you're kind of picturing that nice harmonizing energy. So you could just make that pattern as you go around the room. I'm trying to give you some things you can use that don't involve owning every kind of tool, instrument out there. So, kind of go with that. So now we've set our intention, we've held gratitude, we cleansed the energy, we brought in the new harmonizing energy, right? So now we're going to finish off with grounding the energy in the room. And this final step is to ground the energy in the room, is to anchor the earth energy and create like stability and warmth for the room. It helps you feel safe, cozy, and restful. So I like to do this by creating a little altar with a candle at the end of my session. So I place a candle at the center, and I begin to slowly surround it with natural elements like pine needles, dried flowers, stones, crystals, or leaves that I gathered from outside. I like to gather things from outside and bring them in to the home to kind of connect and ground the home to the earth energy. And then I arrange each item and I keep my focus on connecting the room to the earth, grounding the energy, and then I just kind of seal the energy at the end. I choose an instrument to kind of seal all this in. And for that, I'll often use an ohm tuning fork, which is the 136.1 hertz tuning fork, because that tuning fork is actually tuned to the earth frequency. So that I feel like is a good one to kind of just ground the room. And so you could actually tap that and go around and finalize your session. So, what else could you do? You could ground with drumming, chanting, a gentle movement, or a dance as well. So, all of these are going to help to root the energy into the space. Well, I want to thank you so much for watching. And I hope this video has offered you some inspiration and practical tools to help restore peaceful, balanced energy to your home, your office, and the environment that you are in. Thanks again for joining me and have a wonderful day. Talk to you again soon. Bye.